The story begins with a 5-year-old being becoming damaged. A piece of the healthy and the mature begins to turn on itself. And what was once the ordinary life we always knew it as becomes a living hell in disguise. This is a deep dive into Gregory House's character, the man who stopped caring. At least a man who knew that caring was too dangerous to keep alive. House is unfortunately cynical, deprived of love, deprived of any basic human connection. He's alienated not just from others but from himself. Change? Well, of course, it's almost non existent in this world. Not even on the table no more. He's got too much pride on him, too much ego. Every action is calculated not for the results they have, but for the impact. He experiments, he tests people and patience. Aren't people to him no more? So they are just as puzzles, test cases, data points on some kind of computer. And oddly enough, he seems entertained by the idea of the chaos. He doesn't just reject labels, he laughs at them straight in the face. Call him whatever you want, maybe cruel, manipulative, brilliant, and a psychopath. He'll wear it all with a green flag in his hand. He knows he's the best at what he does, and for a man like House, that should be enough, shouldn't it? He's respected and mostly feared, admired by his boss, trusted, or maybe reluctantly, by his colleagues. He saves lives, not out of compassion, not out of duty, not like other doctors would. But out of curiosity, the human body is a puzzle to him. The disease is the game. The patient is just the board. But even though that cold exterior does really fool you at times, something's breaking deep down. Not in a loud, explosive way like you can hear it a mile away, but in a room in his quiet. Like a building decaying behind a painted wall. There is something brilliantly broken underneath House. A man clawing at his last shreds of sanity and doing it behind a mask that he built for himself. And so he seems to be cool with it. House is always in pain, physical and otherwise, and it's not always visible. He's made an art of hiding it, of weaponizing it against anyone who would ever care. The leg, that's the obvious one, which we see every step of the way, of how much it does affect him in every way. But the cane, it is chosen scepter for cruelty. It's a symbol of what he can never outrun. But the real wound is much deeper, and it's self inflicted. He doesn't process pain, he solves it, dissects it, analyzes it. He bends the rules or lets them bend him. Anything but to surrender. Surrendering means admitting something's bigger than him. God, faith, love, redemption, call it whatever you want, but House doesn't really believe in any of those things. To him, he's the only guiding force in the universe. And when you are your own God, you will suffer alone. He demands attention and yet rejects it. He wants help but resents the offer. He's rational in chaos, chaotic in peace. And that's not contradictory of his character, it's consistent to a man like House. Wilson is the only one who sees through the noise. The reluctant best friend, the moral compass, the one who sticks around when no one else would. And of course, he narrates How's life better than I do. Surely he does also breaks down the logic behind the madness, follows House into darkness, hoping one day he'll choose the light instead. Wilson is the heart of the show. House is the mind. And like every mind in pain, House eventually turns on the heart. But Wilson stays, always, every step of the way, because somebody has to. And perhaps Wilson is the only thing keeping House from disappearing completely. Cuddy wasn't just House boss, she was a test House failed miserably. Again and again, he wanted her, loved her. But love doesn't survive where fear lives, and House's fear, that is his poison to anyone who dares to love him. He hallucinated her, invented moments to fill the void because the real ones hurt too much, because loving her meant admitting he could be more. And that terrified him more than dying alone. Harris doesn't fall in love, he studies it. He pulls it apart until there is nothing left. That way, when it all falls apart, he can say, I knew it. Because pain hurts less when you expect it. Everybody lies. It's more than a catchphrase of his. It's his worldview of the dark, brutal old world he has made for himself. It's his mantra, his armor, his excuse for everything that is happening. Because if everyone's lying, then you do not have to trust. You won't have to forgive, and you won't need to feel. But House does feel indeed. That's the tragedy of his story. He cares so deeply that it hurts him to the breath of his bones. He'll never admit it. He'll joke around, deflect it upon others, but you see it in his pauses, in the glances of his eyes, in the way he watches people walk away from his life, in the way he punishes himself every time something good gets too close. He hits bottom more than once. Like in an isolation prison, he destroys what he builds, pushes away what he needs, and yet keeping coming back. He's not hopeless. He's afraid of hope. And when he finally breaks, truly breaks, it's not with fireworks, it's quiet, deliberate, a final act of surrender, disguised as rebellion. And when Wilson is dying, has nothing left to prove. He chooses life, not for him, but for someone he cares about. It's not a grand redemption arc, but it's enough. You could say House is a cautionary tale, but that would be too simple. It could say that he's proved that pain destroys the genius, but that wouldn't be the whole truth either. He never asks for your empathy. He demands your attention. And in a world obsessed with healing, he shows us the power of understanding instead. Not everyone needs a transformation arc. Some people just need to be seen honestly, clearly, painfully, for who they are. And in the end, that's House. Not a man redeemed nor restored to a better life, but a man relieved just enough to remind us brilliance doesn't come from being fixed. Sometimes it comes from learning to function while still broken. If you like today's breakdown, subscribe for more in depth character deep dives. And let me ask you this one important question: is House truly incapable of change? And if so, what could you do in his shoes? And drop your take below. I'm reading them all because sometimes the most painful characters are the ones we mostly feel for. And so, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, see ya.